Obusinge abanyabusinge, uh, peace be with you, Chwezi Empire listeners and viewers. Today, we are going to talk about naming rights in Africa. Do our names matter? Do our names matter? You know, colonialism took much of our wisdom. From today, we need to understand what our names should be and how we should name ourselves to create better generations that are coming in the future. I am called Natamba Masiko Magundu. You can't listen or you can't get any. You can't get any of my names, the three names. Can't get an English name in them. I once had an English name, but I went to court and just scrapped it off. After I had an experience, I met one of great Pan-Africanists. That was Dr. Kihorankuba in 2010. When I met him, I was this young man who was arrogant of myself, who was arrogant of how I was looking at myself. So when I met him, I even had tinted hair, not tinted. I had a relaxed hair. I was looking like Somalis, because you know Somalis have that kind of soft hair. So when I met this big man, my mentor, man who has since lived to help me of the some of the wisdom I have is generated from some of such kind of the people. I met him and we discussed. I had taken a group of university students from journalism and mass communication department. So when I took them, we started discussing, and by that time TV Africa was starting. So we discussed about Africa, we discussed about self identity. Now we left. I decided to go there back the following day, and I told him, I want to have a program on your TV, a Pan-African program. He asked me which program, and I told him I want to have a program, and I talk about great Africans. He asked me, and he asked me that for example, which great African would you like us to start with? I arrogantly told him the likes of Mandela. The man was rude to me and asked me, do you know how Mandela betrayed South Africans? South Africans are not are living landless. And you are telling me, Mandela, are you a Pan-African? First look at yourself. The man confused me. The man, I felt bad. I was like, now what is this man talking? But when he explained to me, I realized Mandela did a lot of harm to South Africans. Because when he left the cells, he made an agreement with whites to keep their land. And South Africans remained landless. Up to date, South Africans have no land in their own country. That's why they say Mandela the angel and Robert Mugabe the devil. Now, the man told me, look at yourself. Are you an African? Let's start with you. What's your name? I told him I'm called this. I can't even mention that former name of mine. I can't. I told him about my English name and he told me, what's the meaning of your name? I didn't know that English name. I didn't know the meaning of that English name. Now I was wondering, and now I started thinking, what's wrong with this man? Now he asked me, were you blessed? Which name did your parents call you and it is a blessing? In actual sense, I follow twins. I found out I had no name that I was blessed with from my parents, except the English name that was given me from the church. Now what happened? I realized he told me, change your names, bless yourself, go back home and let the parents bless you with the name. That's how I became Natamba Masiko Magundu. Natamba means healing, Masiko is hope, and Magundu is big. I am the healing, the hope, and big in God's kingdom. Tell me that one is not Christian, those who like Christianity. Tell me those names are not Christian names. Sometimes my wires drop off and I abuse. I'm sorry for whenever I'm recording myself and abuse. You forgive me. You find fools saying healing is Christian, Natamba is not Christian. What a fool is that? Eh? Both are the same. So, naming rights in Africa, we need to understand the naming. When you produce a kid, bow down, sit down, think before you just name far. Think before you name somebody. Because a name that is given you by your ancestors, a name that is given you by your father, is a name that will grow with you, is a name that will push you all your life until you die. You find somebody's name Rwakuburia and you think that is a blessing. You name kids weird names which you don't know. You name kids English names that you don't know. John, toilet. There are very many names in English that mean they are things. And let me tell you, naming in Africa is very key. When you name a kid your language, your tribe, your cultural name, your traditional name, you have blessed that kid with whatever thing you have named him with. I will give an example. You produce a kid, you call him Chomujisha. It means you have blessed your kid with blessings. Chomujisha is a blessing. You have named your kid a blessing. You have given him a blessing or her a blessing. But when you name your kid Deodanta, now Deodanta is what in your tradition? It is what in your ancestral spirits, in your ancestral blessings. Can you bow down to pray to your ancestors and say Deodanta and they get to know who Deodanta is? Some of us are cast unknowingly. When the ancestors are moving, trying to bless their kids in their families, they found the Deudantas, they found the Deserantas, they found the Fantasticas, they found the Pharisees, and they go back because they cannot connect with the naming. Because before colonialism, those ancestors of ours had nothing like those names. They have no meaning to our culture and tradition. They have no meaning to your blessings. They have no meaning to guide you for life success. When my ancestors are moving around at night and they found the Natamba, they found the Tongirwes, they found the Chomujishas, they found the Kansimes, they found the Shemerirwes, they sit well and be like, okay, these are our own. What do you need? If you have prayed that night, then you will be blessed. If you have been seeking for help, then you will be helped because you are in the right hands. Whites are fighting much to finish our generations. Whites are fighting much to get an African generation off, but there is hope, because all they have tried, AIDS, uh, Marburg, Ebola, Corona, what they have failed. Africans will never get finished. Africans, we are blessed, only that we are blessed without brains. Our brains, we sold them to the whites. Our brains, we gave them out, and we need to bring back our brains. How do you produce a kid and you name him a foreign name? How do you bless your kids? That's why you find kids, the generations are being finished. The generations are getting finished. They are disappearing because of how we are setting up our families. Produce kids, name them English name, your traditional names. In church, I was in a certain church and I told them about this, and they accepted it. They were like, yes, it is true. Whoever brings, for example, in the Protestant church, I talked to one of the church leaders in my home area, and I told them, please stop allowing people name their kids, stop forcing people name their kids in English names, which you call Christian names. I explained to them about the Businje piece. That name Businje piece, the word is the same. Why would you be like peace is Christian and Businje is not Christian? So they accepted. They were like, if somebody brings the two names in an African tradition, then they can accept and give them the baptism cards that have the two names which are in his or her tribe. That is very key. We need to have our kids named in their local names, not foreign shopped names. You don't know the essence of naming us, giving us Christian names. When you go to the whites, do they have Christian names? That is actually a question, a very, very big question. I want us to go to their Christian names. Do they have? Go back and make research. Do the whites have Christian names? Why Africans Christian names? Africans' blessings are in their hands. But because they are greedy, because they sold their brains to colonialism, because they sold their brains to brainwashed colonial creatures, that's why we should name our kids our own names, our African names. They came and made sure that our physical futures and all of them are named in their names. They changed everything in 2 years. You start with Lake Victoria, which is Naruvare, Mountains of the Moon, which is Rwenzori, Mount Elgon, which is Mount Masaba. So everything over was changed to hide wisdom from you. For example, Masaba means wisdom. But as long as you name it Mount Elgon, you won't have the understanding of Mount Elgon. What is Mount Elgon? There's nothing like you are going to get out of Elgon. But when you say Mount Masaba, you will ask yourself, because Masaba is a Gisu name. So when you ask Bagisu, what's the meaning of Masaba? They will tell you Masaba means wisdom. So if it means wisdom, whoever named Mount Elgon Masaba, what was he about, or what was God about to name Mount Elgon Masaba? Which means on Mount Elgon there is a very great spirit of wisdom. You go on the top of Mount Elgon and you start praying. You are possessed with the spirits of the Moseses. You are possessed with the spirits of the pharaohs and what, and the divination is at its peak. You understand spirituality at its highest level. You go to Lake Victoria and you ask yourself, why was it called Naruvare? That is the source of God's creation. Naming River Nile. Now, what is the meaning of river? What is Nile? What is Nile? Nile. Eh? Can anyone tell me the meaning of Nile? It is Chira, Vujagari, Falls. When you know it is Chira and it is Vujagari, it is, you ask yourself, you go to Basoga, what is Vujagari, what is Chira? Are you aware that most of the wise people go to the source of River Nile and evoke the spirit of Vujagara and they do something? I don't want to go deep into in the coming future. I will go deep into exposing this thing. I will expose these things. There is Vujagari. It is a spirit. People go to the source of River Nile and evoke Vujagari. But how will you go to River Nile to evoke Nairo? Nairo, who is Nairo? You don't know. So, I want us to know the essence of naming in Africa and the names and how they are blessing our families. We need to have better family setups. If you don't have a better family setup, you will have kids that will be suffering for the future. Name your kids your local names, name your kids your ancestors' names. There we shall have a happy community, happy societies, and things will go the best way. I haven't named any of my kids a European name. I will, for example, let me give you one kid. My firstborn is Atamba Mporo Magundu Wakana. And you tell me that kid is going to suffer? Because Atamba is healing. Mporo is a great name for our kingdom, Mpororo. I am a Mpororo. I'm a prince of Mpororo. I'm one of the princes of Mpororo. Yes. Let us wait for the future. Magundu is our great-grandfather. So I named him at the fourth generational level. Appease the lineage of our great ancestry. I know where they are. They are happy because they have their names existing. They were not buried and buried for all. Name your kids your African names, your traditional, your local names. Stop naming them foreign names. If them themselves have no Christian names, then who are you, stupid Africans, to have Christian names and yet the one who brought it has none? Because all of their names are English. So which one will be Christian and which one will be traditional in them? Let us have a mindset change. Let us understand things the right way. Peace be with you, Obsinje. May you pray for our country. People, pray for Uganda. Uganda needs prayers. For us who are in the spiritual lineage, things are not good. Things are yet to happen. Worse things to Uganda. We pray that this bloodshed should not take place. We pray that Uganda should keep at peace.